All right. Hello and welcome to the Last Place Fantasy Football Podcast. My name is Ryan. I'm here with my co host, Josh Richter, and we are at the playoffs.
It is
Sorry
playoff
for,
time.
yeah,
Not for
sorry for
me.
our absence for the last couple of weeks. We've been on and off, one of us taking over the podcast for that week while others were on, vacation and whatnot, or just sick. I had COVID for about 2 weeks of that, but we're back and we are ready for the playoffs. Um, Pretty much what we're going to be going over today is playoffs, how the regular season ended, and just our predictions for all things playoffs when it comes to our league. So, Josh, what you got?
Uh, Eighth place and not in the playoffs. All right, so let's bring down the story here. As it's well documented, I started the year horribly, but let's say lo and behold, I end up being 6-7
Yeah.
going into the last week of the playoffs. It is a win and in situation. I have set myself up. I have all the tiebreakers with everybody else. And did I win? No.
I
In
was
fact,
hoping.
I lost by 50. And yeah, nothing's worse than going into a win and in situation. You not only lose, but someone took off on your bench
Yep.
that you didn't have the guts to start.
Uh,
And that was
I,
me.
I was in the same situation. I'm automatically in the playoffs, but I was playing for a bye and I didn't start Dalvin Cook and he got 44 points. So, and for those of you listening and watching, me and my dad, I was one game ahead of my dad, and he has been on a monster win
I
streak.
have never seen this win streak
Yeah,
before.
he lost the first 4 games and has won everything since. And he has just been on absolute fire and smoked me 2 weeks ago, beat me by a lot. And then he played, who did he play this week?
Me.
Oh, you. Yeah, that's right. He
And
played, he played Josh, and it was a win, and he's in the playoffs or in first place. And if I lost, I yeah, no.
if you lost and
If
I
I
won,
lost,
you would have still had the number one seed.
yeah,
But
yeah,
combined with your loss and his win, he gets the tiebreaker
yeah,
and then the first seed.
yeah, exactly. Yeah. So we were 1-1 on head to head. So the tiebreaker for our league is points. And I was behind him by like 20 or 30 points.
Dalvin Cook would
So
have helped with
having
that.
having Dalvin Cook in my lineup would have not only won me last week, but would have won the tiebreaker too. So I would have had, I would have had the first seed and a bye week into the playoffs. And for me, I have uh, DeAndre Swift out right now with an injury, and he might not come back this week. They're predicting that he'll come back next week. So, yeah, I'm a little upset by that. So now I have to play Ashley, who I lost to last week. So it'll be interesting. It'll be interesting playing her 2 weeks in a row. So,
Yeah, it will be
yeah.
very interesting. And I would say, okay, as coming, I'm going to say this from a commissioner standpoint. It looked rough at the beginning of the league because it looked like, oh, we have like 4 or 5 not so good teams, and it was just going to be like this two-horse race.
Yeah.
And overall, with trades, with waiver wire pickups, and then obviously some injury news, injury luck, bad luck, good luck, it ends up being 8 teams are competing for the final week of the playoffs. I
Yeah.
think that's a credit to everyone in our league. I think y'all had a good draft and y'all managed the best that you could. But unfortunately, the top 6 will continue to go on.
Yep.
And I'm still upset.
And yeah. But you have to take some solace in knowing that you're going to get a good pick next year or in next draft. So
Yep.
just take solace in that.
I will take
and start
solace in that.
recruiting.
I have already started
Start scouting.
I've already started the scouting process, and let me tell you, I really don't know where I'm going considering my team. So I can tell you 100% it's not quarterback. Yeah. And largely because I like the quarterbacks who I have. Like, I think Zach Wilson's flash. Mac Jones obviously looks really good. Wentz has done his part. Cam, I don't think will stay on my team.
No, don't keep him.
it's running back or receiver now that throws me off, because originally I was like, you know what? Let me just take the best rookie tight end, and we can see where we go from it. But in this league, I somehow got George Kittle. So I don't need tight end. I will say probably receiver, because I got off the Allen Robinson train as fast as I can, but that really did hamper my receiver room.
Good on you.
Yeah.
Good on you.
Yeah, that is
glad you did that.
So am I. Or even running back, but I still have ETN, Gibson, CMC. I mean, just say
I think Gibson's going to bounce back.
I hope so. I'm not confident in the staff, though. That's my fear.
Yeah. See, he's proven that he's an elite running back when he's given that time.
Yeah.
When he's given the chance. See, with JD McKissick out the last couple of weeks, he's thrived. He struggled last week, but that was, I
think the game just got out of hand way too fast.
Exactly. Like they weren't playing the run. They weren't. So the game got out of hand, and you just have to chalk that up to game script. So who knows?
Yeah, but overall, I will be looking.
Yeah, but hold on to him.
Thank you for the encouraging words as he proceeds to score 5 points in the winning end. You want some breaking news real quick before we get into playoffs?
Oh, all right. What is it?
DeAndre Hopkins expected to miss rest this season, but hopeful he can return for playoffs. So if you're depending on Nuke in your fantasy playoffs, do what you have done the last 8 weeks. Prepare without him.
Yep, and that also ups Christian Kirk and
Rondale
Moore.
I would say AJ Green.
Well, yeah, he had AJ Green. Yeah, but AJ Green's proven to be inconsistent.
But he's not as reliant on the deep ball. And I think he's actually kind of proven to be the true number 2.
Mm-hmm.
And because like Kirk and Rondale is just, all right, who do you not want to cover?
Yeah.
So now I think AJ Green is definitely someone you should take a look at. And then I would probably go Kirk over Rondale Moore.
Okay.
The big interesting thing is Chase Edmonds, though, because they may have to be like, well, you're gonna have to play.
Yeah.
Because James Conner's also hurt.
Yeah, that's a tough situation for them, but they've got plenty of people to step up and take over.
They have the depth.
Nuke's responsibilities. Yeah, they have the depth. So if you guys have D-Hop, draw a card on any one of his replacements, AJ Green, any of them. AJ Green's probably the best pick, but you'd be taking a chance with any of them because that's it's an inconsistent wide receiving core, and we'll see.
It's a flavor. It's a flavor of the week receiving core.
Yeah. So you got to pick, but it'll be interesting.
Yeah, very interesting considering now it's a fight for the number 1 seed in the NFC.
Yeah, and they're going to be they're going to be struggling the next couple of weeks to try to get that number 1 seed from Green Bay.
So I would say we can get into some news. There's only a few things I would say that's really lingered from the last time we did the podcast. And then obviously this week has just been insane with all the COVID positive tests and teams adjusting to that.
Yeah, poor Rams, man.
Poor Browns.
Yeah, Browns too. Yeah, because their head coach
Head
just tested.
Baker
Was it
just
last night or
tested
this morning?
this
Oh,
morning.
Baker tested.
Yep, Baker did.
Really?
Jarvis
I didn't see that.
Landry, literally most of the offense.
Ooh.
So this makes it for a very interesting game with the Raiders too.
Oh. And that also may put a hamper on Chubb and Hunt
Hunt. Yep.
because they're going to be leaning on them pretty heavily with,
No one knows if Hunt's
Baker out.
playing either.
Ooh. Yeah,
So yeah.
if that's a big question mark, then I'd stay away from the Browns because if they're going to rely on the run game, they're just defenses are going to just stack the box.
Yeah.
So
I will say this: if you have the sleeper breaking news channel, make sure you have that on. Make sure you have all the notifications on.
Yeah.
I don't expect the COVID story to be over, so definitely keep that up. Just to see who else is next. Like, I mean, Odell has been hit. I mean, Tyler Higbee apparently was a false positive, but no one knew that for the Monday night game. There's quite a few players. Basically, you have to be ready to adjust, and that requires a lot of the insurance players getting their backups, and then the backups to the backups. That's we've hit that part of fantasy.
Yeah, a lot of waiver wire pickups this week.
Yep, a lot of them.
A lot of them.
Now I will say the next big news I do want to mention because there is major dynasty impact. Besides I mean, obviously, as far as coaches go, Joe Judge is definitely not the worst head coach out there. Let's just hope he can survive and then pick a better offensive coordinator than Jason Garrett, who was let go about 2-3 weeks ago.
Yep.
If let's just say if you have Kadarius Toney, any Giants receiver, or Saquon especially, I think you have to be feeling pretty good. It really depends on who the next guy is.
Yep.
So that's definitely a wait and see.
Yeah. Yeah. Do you think they wait until the offense? Do you think they wait until the off season to pick somebody up, or are they going to try to pick somebody up now?
I think it's going to be to the off season. My gut feeling is that it will be someone from the outside.
Yeah.
Because I don't think they'll go in-person hire but if it's establishing a brand new like identity on offense, that you want to wait till the off season and just stick with what's given to you.
And it also allows them time to vet people and really look into them and see what they're going to want to do with the offense. So I get that, waiting until the off season.
Makes sense. The other big news, we won't get into Urban Meyer, but the only thing I'll say is for Trevor Lawrence's sake, Jacksonville, please move on. Just please
get him out of there.
Yeah.
I drafted Lawrence last year, and I really hope Jacksonville gets their crap together because he's a good quarterback. He's just struggling.
But
he has the weapons.
That team is like built better than what their record is.
Yeah, so much better. And they just don't know how to work it. I don't know. Yeah. They just don't know how to run. It's like an engine that's got all its parts. It just doesn't have the tuning right. Just doesn't work.
Yeah, I definitely don't think the offense has really worked out in like at all, to be honest with you. And I think Lawrence has kind of shown this regression almost.
Yeah, and he really has.
And I understand like the ETN injuries, DJ Chark being hurt, but you still have LaVisca, you still have Marvin Jones, like you still have legitimate options there. And then you still have a good tight end in Dan Arnold too. So so I know on the offensive side, it's like I understand if there's struggles, but not like a complete shutdown of your offense.
Yeah, not a meltdown.
Yeah, and obviously with all the other stuff, it just seems like it has turned into a clown show, honestly. So we hope for Trevor Lawrence's sake, and especially for your sake, Ryan,
Yeah.
that that some people are let go, and that unfortunately they're probably going to have to clean house again.
Yeah.
Other big news. I mean, poor me, poor CMC, out for the year again. But
He's been out for the year.
yeah, he's been out. I would say in redraft, this makes it very interesting. I think 100% he is not the clear favorite for number one.
Yeah.
Because for the second year in a row, like you're just gonna have pause. I can see him falling maybe late first, but I mean, this is what we talked about in saying that you have to make sure that your offense can work without him.
Yeah.
And obviously, as what we've seen Carolina, even firing, Joe Brady got let go. You can
Yeah.
show that the offense doesn't, for some reason, offense will not work without Christian McCaffrey.
And that's sad.
That is sad because that has ruined a really good defense,
Yep.
I would say. And then it's also put Matt Rule on the hot seat in year two, which I don't even think that should be there. But it does tell Carolina, and you can start, especially as a dynasty owner, you can start seeing these things to go, which teams need a quarterback, then you can act accordingly to there.
Yeah.
So you can start narrowing down the teams now.
Yeah. I agree. And yeah, putting Matt Rule in that situation, with pretty much his offense crumbling, in the early in the season, it's difficult for it's difficult for a coach to go through that, because your offense is just gone. Like you have to rely on this defense that has been solid, but is not invincible.
No
So
defense is invincible,
no,
especially not with how the rules or
and
anything like that. You can't really make a team. It's like our defense is our strong suit. You can't really do that anymore.
No, not anymore. Not with the offenses, and especially these new offensive coordinators. They're just tearing apart these defenses, and especially the defensive minds, like uh, Coach Zimmer in Minnesota. He has a terrific defensive mind, but going up against these young offensive coordinators who know their stuff, who have pretty much lived for it their whole lives, he's got the experience, he's got the know-how, but it's just too dynamic now to have, an amazing defense without an offense.
Yeah.
So, and oftentimes, there's a saying that, my dad used to say to me, defenses win in the playoffs. And that's true if you have an offense.
Yeah, if you have a competent
defenses,
offense.
Exactly. If you have a working offense that has all its pieces, you'll make it far into the playoffs and maybe even a Super Bowl if you have a solid defense. But we've seen more teams in the last probably 10 years that have had stellar offenses that just are just hacking at these good defenses. And we've seen them go deep into the playoffs. So I think there's a little bit of a balance on that, but you definitely, if your offense is struggling so much that your defense is having to compensate heavily for that,
to me, that's more damaging than having a terrible defense and a good offense.
Yes.
Like I feel like if your offense is not good, you're not going anywhere.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I agree.
All righty. So I say that's basically all the big news. I mean, there's been so much other news, but unfortunately, that's what happens when you miss 3 to 4 weeks. But
we kind of got a little off topic there with the
we did
whole defense offense thing.
Yeah, we really did.
It's all in the name of fantasy football. The reason why we started this whole show is just so me and Josh could really just talk football in general. We both love it. We both have a passion for it. So Yeah. Um, on to the playoffs. Let's
Oh yeah.
let's get our lineup here. Let's go up here.
All right. I say let's
All
let's
right.
let's announce who made it. Let's
Okay.
congratulate
Yeah. 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 Yeah.
the six teams that have made it. Your
Yep.
division winners are good man Paul Traver and Tyler.
Yeah.
Both won their divisions
Oh, I
with
want to
the
say.
over
Oh, sorry. I
with the
want to say my
overall.
dad has not made it into the playoffs, and he's been playing fantasy football for years before I started. He has not made it into the playoffs in like 4 years. He has just struggled hardcore, and I'm so proud of him for putting together this team. And by team, I mean Jonathan Taylor. And he's
Yeah,
done such
really.
a good job. But
Well,
yeah, sorry, continue.
no, I'll say like the funny thing is, beginning of the year, you and I both said when you're fourth in the league in points and you're 0 and 4, it will bounce back to
Yeah.
you eventually.
Yeah. Well, and JT started catching
Yeah,
fire, and he's just been on a roll since.
yeah. I would like to amend that by saying I did not expect a bounce back in a 10-game winning streak.
Yeah. Yeah. I am so surprised by that.
Shocked.
Every single week, I'm going, this is the week. This is the week. This is the week he's going to end
Like
this
you
streak.
expect it to fall off.
Yeah. And then I faced him when he was at an 8 game win streak. And I'm like, yeah, I'm going to get him. Like, I finally get to do this. And he smokes me. And I'm
Yeah,
like,
no,
dang it.
I mean Josh
Kidding me.
Allen caught fire, and then
Yeah.
when you have a why do we let him get Najee and JT?
I don't know. I don't know
And
how.
for you, and
I really don't
here's
know
what's worse.
how.
And for you and I to have the number one and number two picks, we blew it.
Yeah.
We
We
absolutely blew
did.
it.
We blew it.
We
And
really
then we
did.
swapped those picks in the middle of the season.
Season, and then yours still that's left standing. Though I will
Yeah.
say though, CMC helped me get back into the playoff race though.
Yeah.
So it's not like that trade was
Well,
all for
yeah.
naught.
And honestly, I wouldn't have the record that I have right now if I didn't have Debo and Cook.
Yeah,
I would not.
Debo was the one I'm upset I had to give up.
Yeah. Because he
But
blew up as soon as you like gave
yeah,
him to me, he started going off.
yeah,
So
but that's I think with Debo, the other issue is I expected the shoe to drop. Like I expected
yeah.
the injury bug to hit,
Yeah.
and that didn't happen. But now that we're seeing Debo being used as a running back, like you basically got two running backs in that deal.
Yeah.
But
And
and I will
I'm surprised at his usage the last couple of
yeah,
weeks.
and I will also say just going your trade and review, I Mooney has flashed for me and Ayuk.
Yeah.
As painful as it gets for Ayuk, because the matchups you expect him to take off, he just does not take off in.
Yeah.
But slowly but
He's
surely,
starting to catch fire. Yeah, he is.
yes. And I'm like, look, if he's becoming that, then I'm okay with giving up Debo for
Yeah.
that. But
And
Debo's,
Mooney's a shining star over in Chicago.
I
I
think,
think
mm,
if they get a quarterback that'll actually throw.
I mean, get a
I love
coach.
Justin
That's
Fields. Yeah, I love Justin Fields, but he's struggled a lot in
I
his rookie
mean,
year.
who hasn't struggled with Nagy?
That's
That's the
true.
other. That's where
That's
I
true.
think if you get it, I mean, Nagy's probably going to,
Yeah.
but the Fields and Mooney connection, my I'm very hopeful in Mooney. Like I think Mooney
Yeah.
helps me win next year, to be honest with you.
Yeah, and that's why I was kind of bummed giving him up, but knowing that I was getting Debo and
Yeah.
Debo really caught fire. I was happy with that trade, but also it's like I'm like 55% happy with that trade.
Yeah.
Like just slightly because I'm like, dang it, I lost like two young stars and CMC for Cook and Debo. I'm like, dang, I like it, but I don't like it. Like there's a piece of me that's really regrets the trade. but I'm happy that I made it. So
But overall, I mean, if let's get into the playoff discussion, you're going to be playing against Ashley,
yeah,
which
let's continue.
Ashley at
Yeah,
7-7 is very streaky.
mhm,
But I mean, with your team this week, you are heavily relying on Cook. Cook against Chicago is going to be important, and then Debo against
yeah,
Atlanta.
yeah,
That, ooh, honestly, I could see Debo get
yeah,
spiking in Atlanta.
yeah.
Um, I think
And
KJ
I'm
Osborne,
hoping,
Chase.
yeah, I'm hoping that Thielens out another game so that I can, capitalize on this KJ Osborne thing that has happened the last
Well,
2 weeks.
I'll tell you, I don't think Minnesota needs to draft another receiver. Like,
No,
I think
no,
when eventually
we're good.
when they move on from Thielen, I think KJ Osborne is the other guy.
Definitely, definitely. KJ Osborne has really, I don't know. He flashed early on in the season. The first 2 games, he was like on fire as the number 3 receiver, and I'm so surprised, and that's why I went to go pick him up because I'm like, this guy is like our future.
Yeah,
I didn't think anything
him
of it
and
when we drafted
Justin
him last
Jefferson.
year. Yeah. I didn't think anything of it when we drafted him last year. I was like, okay, well, it's this he's fairly talented, but it's like I
Yeah.
don't know if I should stash him or not. And I mean, I'm glad I didn't last year, but I think in the future, KJ Osborne could blow up and actually be, another
It
not
can be a
maybe Adam
consistent
Thielen, but
fantasy
yeah, exactly.
like influence. So I say
Yeah.
let's not be like too all over the place here. Let's go
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
by position as of right now. Right now, quarterback Brady, going with Aaron Rodgers. Yeah, so I think that's a pretty even matchup right now.
And
Um,
against Baltimore, though,
well, Baltimore, I mean,
they'll
I
struggle on offense.
Rodgers could spike.
Yeah.
I say
Yeah.
this as a Ravens fan, unfortunately. I mean, when you're down to your third string corner, the
Yeah.
injury, I kid you not, the injuries with the Ravens this year has been unlike anything I have ever seen.
Yeah.
So for me, like I am just enjoying the ride. If the Ravens somehow
Yeah.
make the playoffs, guys, kudos to everybody because y'all did everything you could to
Yeah.
get.
I mean, yeah, exactly. And that's a good thing, about having a solid team and backups, not just having your starters be good, but having
But
the backups be good as
yeah,
well,
so
because it's just the next man up.
yep, and that's what's been that's what's been for my team. Let me not bring. I'm going to keep bringing that up.
Yeah.
But running backs right now, Dalvin Cook, Devonta Freeman for you. I think Devonta Freeman has been very nice.
He
Speaking
has,
of Ravens,
yeah.
and then this is where I could see things get a little sideways. But as of right now, Jamal Williams was a surprise scratch on Sunday. Hoping he can come back and play because I would definitely play him against Arizona. If
Yeah.
not, you got Chuba Hubbard, and Ashley's mainstay, Austin Eckler. Overall,
Yep.
I think in that situation, Eckler still being kind of hurt does make things interesting. I don't know. This is where the matchup's going to be won or lost. I think this one is kind of like the quarterback situation where I think it's going to be kind of
Yeah.
even.
And I agree, Cook and Eckler are pretty even. Anybody who you put against Devontae Freeman, yeah, I don't see Freeman as being a, amazing running back who's going to get more than 14 points, more than 15 points. You know, I think anybody you put in the RB2 position for Ashley,
I think it's
she
going to be
they'll
pretty
be all right.
even.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it's going to be even.
Now, where I think this is going to be won or lost is in your wide receivers, which I mean that's essentially what the flexes are as well. So,
Yep. Yep.
wide receivers for you as of right now: Debo Samuel, Chris Godwin, Osborne, Chase. I say that's a very nice four. Ashley right
Yep.
now has Hollywood, Tyreek Hill, Deontay Johnson, and Mike Evans. I'll be honest, I think Hollywood is the only one in that category where you can take him out.
Yeah.
Just because Lamar, I would almost assume, is not playing this week. And if he is, maybe not to the same effectiveness. But I mean, as far as her bench, though, you still have Cortland Sutton, Cole Beasley. I think Cole Beasley is going to be the one you would play. Or if Waller
I was
comes
just
back,
going to say that. Yeah.
I'd say Beasley or Waller in that situation.
Mm-hmm.
And then tight ends, we're looking at the rookie battle. The Muth
Fryermuth
is
and
loose.
Pitts.
Yep, Fryermuth and Pitts. Kyle Pitts against San Francisco, Fryermuth against Tennessee. I think Fryermuth against Tennessee looks very interesting.
Yeah, I agree. Just Pitts has kind of been a disappointment this year. I love his athleticism. I love how how well he's performed. It's just Atlanta. It's just the Atlanta offense.
I think Atlanta is
Because
just
they don't have threats other than Pitts and Cordero Patterson. So who do they smother every time he goes out on a route? Pitts.
yeah, and I think I mean
So,
obviously losing Calvin Ridley
mhm.
definitely hurts in that situation.
Yeah.
Russell Gage has kind of taken off in the last couple of
Last 2
games,
weeks,
but
yeah. But other than week 7, after week 7, he's just kind of dropped off a little bit for me, and
yeah.
I don't want to replace him because there's always that off chance where somebody misses their coverage and he just goes off.
Mhm.
So, I don't want to get rid of Pitts. I really don't.
No, I wouldn't get rid of Pitts either. I just think it's just a product of the situation Atlanta is in.
Yeah.
I think if Atlanta had a more, competent running back, I'm not going to count Cordero Patterson in that situation, but if they had, well, I forgot Bleach Report had it, a WRB1, wide receiver, running back 1. That's essentially Cordero Patterson right now.
Yeah, pretty much.
But I would say, without a doubt, that he'll be okay. The more talent that gets there, and I think it's just 2 people. It has to be a better running back and Calvin Ridley coming back.
Yeah, I agree.
And then obviously Freiermuth against Tennessee. That game's going to be a barn burner.
Yeah. Yeah.
But it really,
yeah. I don't really know Freiermuth that well. Like I was gonna pick him up, and I just ended up not doing it. Like I was gonna pick him up early in the season, and I didn't. And so frustrated by that.
Yeah, so that's one matchup. The other matchup, let's talk about, because there's only one more in playoffs that we should mention. Jacob Duran and Ethan.
Yeah.
This should be a fun one.
Yeah, and I'll tell you this right now. Ethan does not want to be on that side of the bracket.
No, he does not.
No, he does not.
Yeah. Oh, I didn't realize Ethan's already dealing with Hopkins and well, Matt Ryan, you're gonna have to do what you gotta do because I don't think Lamar's playing. That's just how I'm guessing it. And the reason why I say this is it's a NFC game against Green Bay. Next week, you already have a game lead on Cincy. So even if you lose and Cincy wins, next week is for the division.
Yep.
And you might as well give them 2 weeks to heal and just not throw this one away. I think Huntley can get the job done, but there's no need to risk Lamar getting hurt if next week is the more important game.
Yeah, they're probably gonna keep Jackson out.
Yeah.
Just to keep him healthy, because they do have a chance of the playoffs. That's why I'm hoping they go run heavy, and they'll try to toss it off to Freeman.
Yeah,
That's the
well,
number
it may be
4.
run heavy, but I could see Huntley. Huntley will check it down to Freeman, so there's that.
Yeah,
Which I'm pretty
yeah, of
sure
course.
Freeman had like 20 points in the Chicago game where Huntley last
Mhm.
started. I say for Ethan's team, as let's just go through the teams here. Quarterback Lamar / Matt Ryan, but Russell Wilson for Durant. He looks like
It's the
Russell
Rams
Wilson.
though.
Yeah, against Durant, where he got hurt. So we'll see there.
Yeah, yeah.
Running
Then
backs,
Leonard Fournette.
David
That's
Montgomery.
yeah. They're solid. Montgomery's shown up since his injury, and
I
he's been pretty good.
I think Montgomery could spike this week.
Really.
Montgomery was always a trade for target, especially because playoff
Yeah.
weeks, if you want to go through here, 15, 16, 17, Minnesota, Seattle, Giants.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, he has like one of the few, like he's like the third easiest schedule right now. And uh, as far as playoff the schedule goes, I think that's where the matchup could be won or lost there. Because
Yeah. I agree.
Josh Jacobs could get a big workload. I mean, maybe, but I
Yeah,
have
he
more
might.
hope in Montgomery spiking than Jacob spiking.
Well, especially against Cleveland too.
And Nick Chubb we'll see what happens, but I don't think he hits his projected 21. I would expect 15, 16 at best.
Yeah,
As of
at
right
best.
now, remains yet to be seen.
Wide receiver.
This is where it gets fun.
Why? Why? Cordero Patterson?
So he
He's
had the
not a
dual.
wide receiver.
He had so here's this.
Oh,
This is where I give credit for Jacob. If it gives you the ability, do it. And so Cordero Patterson as a receiver
so
is a great.
frustrating.
But Michael Pittman against New England,
Yep.
I don't know how I feel about that one.
That's not a good matchup.
Yep. And then he has Clyde Edwards-Helaire and Devontae Adams. Well, Devontae Adams, he'll probably get his.
Yeah.
But on the other side, Cooper Kupp, basically wide receiver 1 this year. Metcalf has basically floundered.
Yeah.
And then
Unfortunately.
Mike Williams.
Well, Gronk, who's been stellar. Like, my gosh. He's been
Yeah,
great.
Gronk definitely wins this tight end battle, which is compared to Jacobs Jared Cook.
Yeah.
So that's where it will be kind of even in that regard. I do think this is kind of won or loss with DK Metcalf.
Yeah. Yeah. That's my prediction too. I think that's the one really weak point. Other than Mike Williams, I don't like Mike Williams.
And
I just don't. He's just
Henderson get COVID too? Yeah.
Oh.
Darrell Henderson did get COVID as well. Oh boy, it is war of attrition for Ethan.
Yikes.
Yeah, Ethan
this is gonna be...
Ethan might have to play Donovan Peoples-Jones and pray for a miracle at this point.
Yep. Shoot. Yeah, that might be his best bet.
Yeah, because Clyde Edwards-Helaire, I don't think we'll get 16 unless he would have to get 2 touchdowns for that. I think it's really this matchup really, if we're gonna boil it down to one, it's really going to be who sucks more between Metcalf or Pittman.
Yeah. Yeah. I agree, but I also think it's one in the flex spots.
Yeah, it's
Devontae Adams and CEH against Darrell Henderson and Mike Williams.
And it looks like CEH is probably not even going to play, considering on the COVID list. Mike Williams is going to be heavily relied upon, and he had a pretty good game this past week. And so against Kansas City, like they don't he needs to take off in order for them to win.
Yeah.
So it's going to have to be 6 for 61 and a touchdown.
That's a good line, but can he tow it?
Yep. Can he tow it? And that's the big question. But overall, that means our good man, Paul Traver and Tyler with the 2 buys.
Oh, luckies.
I know, so lucky. But man, let me tell you, those The two playoff matches, very excited about. That will be fun to look at.
Yeah, the two that I'm really excited to see is Josh Richter against Michaela
No,
and Alex
uh
against Philip.
no,
The
y'all don't
king,
want to see.
the crap king, will be decided in the next 2 weeks.
Uh, no one wants to see this. Also, I'm about to get smoked. It's gonna be bad.
It's
My
gonna be
team
fine.
is just too hurt. Like that's like
Yeah,
and then part of the reason why I'm out of the playoffs is I have 9 people either out or on IR.
yep.
And that's there's only so much you can do. And for me, I definitely hit that limit.
Yeah, and how her Michaela's team, she's actually got a solid team.
Yeah, you're happy. I
Like
mean,
she really does. She just
I think
yeah,
Barkley is like Saquon not playing for most of the year. Mixon really held down the fort, but Amari Cooper bust this year quite a bit. Lockett was really
yep,
bad for quite the year. Mark Andrews has been
yeah,
okay, like tight end one, but that's not saying much. James
yeah.
Robinson has floundered the last 2 weeks, and Claypool
Mm.
has probably been the biggest disappointment out of all of those.
Yeah, but he's also facing his kind of sophomore slump,
Yeah,
and he's had a lot of drops this year.
yeah, he
And
definitely has.
I think that he's gonna come out and he's gonna break out next year. I really think so. I think he's gonna have a big year next year.
Yeah,
So
I think he will. And it will definitely because Ben won't be throwing him the ball.
yeah,
But yeah, that is
yeah.
going to be our playoff preview. We don't need to worry about the toilet bowl. We just need to know who gets crowned it. um, but now we're going to get into our part of the show, our bust, sleeper, and locks for this week. Um, I could start first with the bus. I will tell you 100%. You kind of heard me say this in the matchup between Ethan and Jacob Duran. Michael Pittman, I don't expect is going to do well this week, largely because you're going up against the New England defense, JC Jackson, with a week of rest. Billy B is going to come up with something. So I say, I know you can't really avoid him, but this was one of the things where if you were noticing playoff schedules, I had to trade Michael Pittman in another league to avoid this.
Yeah. Okay, so we're doing bus first.
Yep, we're doing bus first because we are the last place
Like,
fantasy
li-
podcast.
like I said before, I don't trust Mike Williams. I don't. I think he's going to just bottom out this week.
Uh, I wish it wasn't true, but I have a feeling you might be right on that one.
I've drafted him so many years before, thinking that he's going to be my wide receiver too, or even a flex spot, and he ends up sitting on my bench all year, and he has just been such a disappointment. I don't trust him. I think he's going to bottom out this week.
I think that is a very, very good pick there. Sleepers of the week. I mean, you picked up one in Craig Reynolds in your emergency
Yeah, I was
situation.
literally just going to say that. I think Craig Reynolds is going to take over the Lions backfield if Jamal Williams does not show up. That's if Jamal Williams does not show up. So this is a conditional sleeper. But if Jamal Williams does not show, I think Craig Reynolds gets a bulk of the carries over Jamar Jefferson and Godwin Adebuke. I don't know how to pronounce his last name.
Uh,
Godwin. So what?
I'm trying to think how you say his name. Oh,
Yeah, it's
I
Igwebuike.
yeah, Igwe
Igwebuike. Okay, but I think he's gonna get the touches over Jamar Jefferson and Godwin. So I'm hoping he does. I'm very tempted to put him in lieu of
I
Kate
mean,
Osborne
I would think
on
about it.
the bench. So it's definitely a thought for me. I don't know if I have the cojones to do that because I like the Vikings and I want him to do
Yeah.
well.
Part, part,
So we'll see.
part of me wants to put Rashad Penny in this category, but you're playing against the Rams. No, thank you.
Yeah.
But I'll go to another running back, however, and this is again break glass in case of emergency. That is what I am doing right now. Royce Freeman against Jacksonville is who I have. Rex Burkhead has a hip injury. David Johnson, I believe, is on the COVID list. So we have no idea what other running back is toiling in there, but at least Royce Freeman, probably the sleeper at this point.
Hey,
What happened?
I have no clue.
Oh,
What just happened? Oh my gosh.
oh boy.
For
All
those of
right.
you listening, our system just freaked out. So
Yeah, I'm just like,
yeah. I've
yeah.
literally been talking this whole time, but I've been muted.
Oh my
So
goodness, Stan,
yeah, for
technology's against us.
for some reason it muted me. So
All right.
so we discussed our bust,
Our sleepers.
our sleepers. Okay, what's your boom for this week?
My boom for this week. I'll be honest with you. I don't feel great about this. I honestly don't. But part of me thinks it's Darnell Mooney. I just think Monday night game,
Darnell Mooney.
I think Fields
Really?
put up a really good game against Green Bay, and now you're going up against Minnesota with more
Okay.
time to prepare. Mooney has been shut down for 2 weeks in a row. I don't think that happens against Minnesota, so I'm going to go with Mooney.
Okay. Okay. Interesting.
And this is also one I am hoping to be right.
Okay. All right. I see you. I see you. You know, I don't really have a boom. I don't really have a boom for this week. I I kind of struggled in picking it. I want to say Debo just because he's my man. I got him. He's my wide receiver one. But against Atlanta, I could see it happening. They're going to end up using him not only in the passing game but in the running game too. So he may get extra work
Yeah.
facing Atlanta. So
I
I
mean,
guess that's my boom. I
yeah,
guess.
I mean, I feel like Debo's a boom every week, honestly, but
Yeah.
I mean
Well,
the running
yeah.
work, receiving work. Atlanta's not the greatest defenses. I think that's a good choice there.
Yeah. So, man. Well, I think
That
that's
is,
all we.
man, what a day.
Yeah.
Welcome to the playoffs, everybody. If you're either going through the last regular season week or first round, good luck to you. May the fantasy gods be in your favor. But in the meantime, thank you all again for coming back and listening to us. I know it's been a little bit of a hiatus, but we are back. We're going to be talking about the playoffs from here on out, the last 4 weeks of the year.
Whoop,
Continue to follow us not only on YouTube, but Apple Music and Spotify. Not Apple Music, Apple Podcasts and Spotify Music as well. Trust me, I do not make music with these vocal cords, that's for sure. But you will still find us once a week there, and we will see y'all next week.
See you guys.